So we're back once again for not a year and not a Tour de France. The Tour de France 2025, the really good podcast is here and we're thriving with the first episode of this year's podcast. Let's let a round of applause. I think it's very, very deserved for us being back and this time actually doing it the entire tour, hopefully. But we'll see. I'm here with Taylor, who some of you might know, some of you might not. Taylorson, the G. The Tour de France guy, the man himself.
Well, what an introduction, and what an introduction for a podcast that is hopefully going to last more than 6 stages, like it did last year, and hopefully we get more than 0 on our bingo cards this year. Which, is a hope, but we'll save that for later in the podcast, because we're going to be going through stages, we're going to be going through teams, and we're going to be going through our final predictions. As well as the all-important bingo card, which I think is the most important part of the podcast.
For sure.
So I think we jump straight into it with stage 1. It's the first tour that, in a while, since 2021, I believe, that starts in France. Because Alaphilippe took yellow on stage 1 back in 2021, and Van der Poel won stage 2 on the Mer de Bretagne. We start and we finish in Lille to begin with. It's 185 kilometers. It's a pan-flat stage.
Oh, yeah.
But
But
there might be some trouble, because I've been looking, and we've got one turn in the final 2 kilometers. That's nothing crazy.
no, that's fine.
The problem is, we're going to be seeing a sprinter in the yellow jersey, very likely. And the last time there was a sprinter in the yellow jersey, Mike Turnison in 2019. And that stage was carnage. So many crashes, so many teams wanting to be at the front, and I enjoy these sprint stage as a first stage. People may think that this is a hot take already, but I really enjoy a sprint stage. I'm sure the riders don't know, because bodies all over the place.
Bodies and bodies.
It's all about staying out of trouble.
Yep. I mean, I've played this stage so many times in the game. It's not complete. It's sort of realistic. They've made it towards the stage itself. But a lot of corners at the end that a lot of them seem pretty dangerous, if you ask me. And if not even just the stage win, but the yellow jerseys up for grasp, everyone's going to want to have a piece of that. I'm not even surprised if Tade decide to do something on this stage as well. I am not surprised. Just to clap back at Vingegaard doing it in the Dauphiné, suddenly just attacking in a corner at the end. I could see it happening. But stage 1 is going to be, both maybe a disaster, but also maybe just amazing. Hopefully a bit of both.
I think it's one of these stages where if it was like stage 16 and you saw this, you would not be watching any of it. It would be boring. There are a couple of speed bumps in the final 5 kilometers, but it's like, that'll be fine. Stage 16 or something, that'll be nice and easy. Stage 1, when everybody's going for these corners and these speed bumps, it's going to be so chaotic. And who do you think is going to come towards the front and take that first yellow jersey? Because this is big.
It is very big. And no other than the big man himself, Milan from Lille Trek, will take the first stage win. He's also on my fantasy team, by the way. Just letting you all know, I am just goated when it comes to predicting stuff. Let's just say that. Milan, who's there instead of Mads Pedersen, who sort of hurts my soul to say it's not the Tour de France. But since Milan took his place, I'm saying he took his place because he did. I'm expecting at least 2 or 3 stage wins this tour. If not, then someone's getting a big angry email. But yes, Milan is my pick for the first stage.
I'm going Tim Merlier, I think. I think we've instantly circled the 2 best sprinters at the race.
Yes.
I think that Milan pick is a very good pick. And I think Tim Merlier against Milan, it's going to be an M&M battle. Merlier versus Milan, and I am very eager to watch it all happen. And I think there are lots of opportunities for it in this first week. So I'm going Merlier, you're going Milan. Note it down, everybody.
Note it down. And come back here when Milan's won the first stage. So,
Stage 2.
Yep.
I'm not even going to pronounce the start and finish towns. I definitely
Don't
know
worry.
it. Actually,
I
I
got
will
it.
pronounce.
Oh,
You
no,
can
go
do
ahead.
the start. I'll do the finish.
Okay. Lauwin-Planque.
To Boulogne-sur-Mer,
Oh.
209.1 kilometers. It's a long stage. They're not pulling any punches, the organisers, early on. This is hell for the legs.
Oof. Yep. A hilly stage as well. We got a couple category 3s, two category 3s, two category 4s. Closing to the finish as well. I'm not sure if I guess it's an uphill finish, but like a non-categorized one.
Yes, so 3 hills in the last 10 kilometres. First one at 9.7 to go. It's 1 kilometre at 10.6%, but it starts easier and it goes up to sort of 15%-ish second half.
Oh, God.
Which is pretty awful. Then 6.1 to go. You've got 800 metres at 8.8% on a hill. And at 1.2 kilometres to go, you have the final climb. And it's a bit of what we call a false flat, which is like it will look flat on TV, but it won't feel flat for the riders. 3.8% average, and it takes you to the finish. I don't think it will be very troublesome for... Maybe even a sprinter could get up it, but it's whether they'll be there after the 2 previous hills.
I'm assuming everyone wants to go to a quick start. If not, the huge favorites like Tade, who I feel like might try and do something. That's just the kind of rider he is. Then some smaller ones like Lipowicz perhaps would try and test his luck, considering Roglic is the main guy on Red Bull. He might have a little more free room to try something a little bit risky. And the other favorites might not necessarily, find him too dangerous. They're looking too much at each other, not him. So he could potentially escape. A little prediction here on one of the final climbs, maybe the final climb itself. So a lot of stuff could happen, though. But yes.
I certainly agree with a lot of stuff could happen because I've been looking at the final 4 kilometers, and from 4 kilometers to 1 kilometer to go, Primož Roglic is going to be counting his minutes. He's going to have to make sure he's at the front for every single one of these things, because I will read out what I am seeing.
Okay, go on.
Speed bump, central reservation, speed bump, fast descent, roundabout, narrowing, roundabout, central reservation. That's 9 obstacles that he's got to traverse in 3 kilometers. Actually, 10. He's got another. So there are 9 opportunities here for a mass incident. And if you're not at the front, I think, for those from 4 kilometers to go, which is over the top of that final climb, because it's a downhill and you've got all of these things going on, I can see one, maybe even a couple of GC contenders having their tour cut short on a stage like this. So I'm envisaging UAE and Visma are going to try and rip this race apart as early as they can.
Yeah.
To make sure that Pogacar and Jonas are not caught in any of this.
I see that very much as a big possibility. I mean, just a little spoiler for the bingo card. Roglic maybe crashing might be on it. But yeah, damn. He's gotta pray to a higher power at that point. Honestly, if not to crash.
So yeah, the smaller the group, the easier it will be, obviously, to stay upright. But there's not enough real advantage early on in terms of climbs to really reduce the bunch. So it could be really dangerous on that final descent. Yeah. And that's why I've got 2 picks, but I'm going to let you have first pick.
No, please have first.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Mathieu van der Poel, because this is the perfect stage, I think, for somebody who's going to sit in the wheels of the 2 big GC teams, so Visma and UAE. I think they're going to focus on keeping their leaders out of trouble on this first stage, at least. And then maybe, aim in the later stages to sort of pull attacks and stuff. So I think this is the perfect stage for somebody to sit in their wheels, let them do the work, and then snatch the victory at the end. And the short sort of rise, we'll call it, at the end suits Van der Poel down to a T. It's a punchy, long, hard. It's basically a classic, really, isn't it? Over 200 kilometers. So I think Van der Poel's the best type of guy for this.
Good shout. Good shout. I'm going to do you one better then and say Wout van Aert. Because realistically speaking, if it ends up in a bit of a smaller group at the end, considering there might be some crashes and whatnot, and assuming that Tadej and Vingegaard both are there at the end, they both will probably have some teammates there. We both know, we all know that Vingegaard can't outsprint Tadej. So to make sure Tadej doesn't get too many bonus seconds, and also just a stage win in general, if Van Aert is there, we'll probably go for it regardless. But to make sure Tadej doesn't gain any bonus seconds, he would definitely go for the sprint. And I think if he's there at the end, that's what he'll do. And we all say that he's on a downslope, and the second place curves and whatnot. I feel like from the Giro, he's gotten some some of the mental part of the game back. He had a little up there, and I think he's gonna go into the Tour with that in mind, hopefully, and he's gonna go for it, and he's gonna be a great asset and win the stage as well.
I was gonna add something to that, but I'm gonna save it for the bingo card, like you did with the Roglic. So
okay.
Stage 3 then.
Yep.
Valenciennes to Dunkirk, 178.3 kilometers. Another pan flat stage. However, wind. Talk to me.
If it's like the Benji Nation video that he played, then there is no wind, so we don't need to worry about it. But hopefully there will be wind, and we can see some echelons and whatnot, and some gaps maybe being played apart. I would assume the GC teams will have like a pretty decent understanding of being at the front, and I don't feel like, at least UAE Visma, they have also the riders to it. If they either Vingegaard or Tadej get caught behind, I would be extremely surprised. But maybe some of the lower tier GC riders could get caught lacking. Who knows?
So the final 35 kilometers is exposed wind zone. So they've got to be on job, basically, in the final 40 kilometers. It may not blow incredible amounts of crosswinds, but even the slightest opportunity, I think Visma will want to take, because that was where they really isolated Pogacar last year, which was in the crosswinds. They couldn't do much anywhere else because he's just that good. But they had his team firmly on the ropes in the crosswind sections last year. However, I think I still expect a mass sprint. I don't really expect too small of a group heading to the line.
No, that would be surprising, I think.
So in the case of a mass sprint, which I believe you're predicting as well, who have you got?
Well, I'm gonna just go with the same thing. I might just say it every single flat stage. Milan again. He's winning at least 2 stages this tour, and the first, the first and the third should be one of them. Because if he doesn't, once again, I'll just be pissed. So yes, Milan.
If you're going Milan again, I'm going Merlier again.
Okay.
I'm going to build up this rivalry like nobody has ever built up a rivalry before. I reckon, but Van Lerberg gets a position. He's got some experience with these kind of finishes, and you're going to need a good positioner, I think, on this stage, and he's just that. Stage 4, we're flying through this. Amiens to Rouen, 174 kilometres, hilly stage, 4 categorised climbs in the final 45 kilometres.
Damn.
But they're short, they're steep, and it's very similar, I think, to stage 2.
Right. I'm not too sure about this stage, honestly.
This is a difficult one to call, I think. It's kind of, do you see the GC guys go? Do we see another like Van der Poel style stage? It's quite hard to call. You've got 500 meters at 5% in the final kilometer before it kind of flattens towards the line. So it's, again, super similar to stage 2.
Yeah. I could see one trying something from far out. Like, I don't know exactly who, just like a random rider trying something far out, since there are a lot of hills. And they could fully send it down when like every descent as well. compared to like the Peloton, who probably won't do that. So it's just, but I don't even know, man.
So you're thinking like Romain Bardet on stage 1 last year, where he kind of went for a flyer.
Yeah.
I think a team's gonna try and rip it again because there's threat of crosswinds again at the start of the stage. But yeah, I can definitely see somebody trying an early move and sort of holding them off. Yeah, for me, I think positioning for the final climb is going to be crucial because that road is narrow as hell. I think it's super similar to like, do you remember stage 2 where Pogačar last year attacked Jonas and Jonas followed and everyone was like, oh my god.
Oh right, yeah.
Yeah, this is sick. It's very similar to that and like the Flèche Wallonne where it's sort of really narrow roads, and steep. So I think if Van der Poel is on form, it's another stage that he just eats up. But I don't think I'm gonna pick him.
I'm thinking someone like a rogue pick. Rogue, I don't know. Skelmose. He seemed really good at these I'm not just saying because he's Danish, well it's also because of that. But he has seemed really good at these kind of finishes. Even up against guys like Pogačar, like Remco. I don't remember the he won the was it the Lerch he won? I don't remember who he was up against at the end, honestly.
Ooh, I'm gonna have to Google this.
Yeah. But he clearly showed he can hang with the best comes these kind of stages. And he definitely wants to make a move at some point during the tour, and I feel like stakes like this could be a perfect opportunity to make an early move. So I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. Matthias Skelmose for stage number 4. It is stage number 4, right? It is stage number 4.
Just googled it. It's Amstel, so we're all wrong.
Very wrong.
And it's Pogačar and it's Remco, so it's like
those two, right? Yep.
I had him as my backup pick, so that's a good pick from you.
Okay. Thank you.
But for my main pick, I think this is the first stage where Pogačar has a proper swing at GC. I'm not sure if he's got enough to sort of gain any time on the road to Jonas, but I can see him just trying an attack.
For sure.
And in all honesty, I can just see it going to a 2-up sprint like it was last year, albeit, last year there was a breakaway up the road and they won. But I can see Pogačar and Jonas kind of having their first duel on this final climb, and I'm going to go Pogačar for the stage, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think if Van der Poel is on form, then he goes crazy on the stage. But I'm not sure about his form after the Dauphiné,
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, Tadej is a really valid pick, honestly. I wouldn't be surprised if it happens.
Stage 5 is fairly simple. It's an individual time trial, 33 kilometers, rolly terrain, but I think it's really mostly flat. So nothing absurd really on the profile. What are we thinking here?
I mean, I think we might see a similar one as in the Dauphiné. Remco, he's shown he's amazing at time trials. This kind of time trial, it just seems like his territory to a T. Even the length of it as well, 33 kilometers. And of course, he's going to try and gain as much time early on as possible because, in the mountains, gaining time on either Vingegaard or Tadej will be a huge challenge for him. So he's going to fully send this one. Not going to hold anything back. And just the straight up prediction would be him winning it, I think.
Yeah, I think I can only see sort of 3, most likely 2. Maybe 3, arguably 5. But I don't think the Pogačar and Vingegaard GC duo are going to want to show their cards this early.
Yeah.
So for me, it's Ganna against Remco for the stage. Ganna has yet to win a Tour de France stage, which is pretty crazy. I think he needs it for the full set because I believe he's got one in the Vuelta and one in the Giro at least. So, I mean, if Evenepoel is taken, then I'm going to go Filippo Ganna. Again, he's been fairly sort of quiet and under the radar, at least going into this. Everybody talks now about Remco being the main time trial guy,
Right.
and kind of rightly so, I think, because he's in the mainframe, like he's the GC time trialist. But I wouldn't be surprised if this goes to somebody who's like more like he's bigger as well, so he could probably push more watts. But Remco just goes absurd on
He does.
on time trials.
The aerodynamic he's got, crazy, man.
Yeah, he's not been like incredibly good this year in the time trial, but I wouldn't be surprised if he gets back to his best form at the Tour. So I'm gonna go Ganna, I think, for this stage.
Fair enough. How much time difference we saying though between the GCs? How much time you thinking? Because like, what was it? Remco gained like, was it 30 seconds on Jonas, roughly? 20, 30? Similar length.
What I kind of want, if I'm writing a script for this Tour, is for Remco to have lost time early on. Not like absurd amounts of time, not too much that he's out of GC already, but like enough so that he's on the back foot. So he kind of goes into this time trial going like, this is my chance now. This is where I need to put time into these guys. So I think I can see with the Pogacar, potential for a Pogacar stage win on sort of the previous stage. I can sort of see Remco trying to get revenge on stage 5 and just having that sort of mental burden that he wants to get. So I'm going to say like Remco could take possibly up to sort of 40 seconds on Pogacar and Vingegaard, maybe, if he's really up for this time trial.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, honestly. I would be surprised to see a huge gap between Tadej and Vingegaard, though.
Yes.
Compared to the Dauphiné. I'm not sure. I still haven't read about it. It seemed that Pogacar's bike, there was something wrong with it, at least to a degree. Or did he just have a bad day?
Well, maybe he ran out of, bike skill, ran out of talent, ran out of mechanical assistance. It could be anything. So who knows, really? There's an element of unknown about Pogacar's time trial, which, is pretty cool.
Ooh, indeed. Finally something can finally stab him. Stage 6?
Stage 6, indeed. 201.5 kilometres. Bayeux to Normandy. And it's another chance for the hill riders. Lots of short, sharp climbs throughout. 6 in total. Plus, there's a short rise to the finish. All of them are Category 3s, apart from one Category 4, which is, incidentally, the last climb. But the final 700 metres are 10.2% average. And it's at its steepest in the second half. So this is screaming out for a puncher.
Initially I thought breakaway, but at the same time, it's just after a time trial, so everyone's going to be like decently fresh. So I don't feel like the peloton's going to let it go, especially UAE, because once again, it's even a slight opportunity for Tadej getting some bonus seconds or anything. I think they're going to take. So I'm not sure how to call this, honestly.
Yeah, it's a difficult one to call, definitely, because I had the same view. I was like, this looks like it has breakaway written all over it.
Yeah.
If the time trial wasn't before the stage. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see like how heavily do the GC guys try and cook themselves on the previous stage, and like how much effort do they put in, and how their recovery is, basically. And I think it's going to be a bunch again. I wouldn't even be surprised if Remco goes 2 for 2.
Okay.
But yeah, the puncher classics guys, I think, are the people ready to sort of capitalise. I wouldn't be surprised as well, I guess, if Pogacar and UAE kind of take this stage by the scruff of the neck and go for the stage win as well.
I think that might be the story I'm going for here. They're looking for a stage win for Tadej, in my mind, they haven't gotten any yet. So I'm thinking this is the stage they're going to go all out for. And Tade's going to come up at the end. He's going to do the Tade thing that he does. Attack pretty early on. And, on the final climb. And he's just going to keep the pace high, sitting down, drop everybody, and end the story.
Do you reckon Tade gets washed allegations if he doesn't win any of the first 5 stages? How dare he?
Yes. Oh, for sure. He's going to get called out badly by me.
Stay tuned to the podcast, folks.
Yeah.
For me, I'm going to go... I'm going to sound like a broken record. Genuinely, Van der Poel could win like 99% of the first 6 stages. I'm going to go Van der Poel again. I think Remco was my backup. But yeah, I can see Van der Poel once again kind of taking advantage of Pogačar trying to win the stage and just like attacking off him in the final couple 100 meters, using the acceleration and all that to get away. So I'm going to go Van der Poel, I think. And speaking of Van der Poel, he won on the Mur de Bretagne last year, and the next stage finishes on the Mur de Bretagne. It's stage 7. It's Saint-Malo is the starting town, and it's 197 kilometers, and it looks very similar to the stage that he did win on Bretagne last year, or not last year, 2021. In that wonderful, might I add, purple and yellow Alpecin jersey. I don't know if you remember that, but
exactly.
Time to bring it back, guys, if you're up for it.
They're listening. I mean, yeah, the thing is, like, even because there are 2 passages for the Mur de Bretagne. The first one, like, I can't see exactly how far away from the finish, but maybe like 15 kilometers or so. There is potential of some teams doing something there. They probably will. But even if you do get dropped there, and even if you're not still there on the penultimate climb as well, there is a long downhill section before the final climb. So you could potentially catch back up. Although you might, your legs might be done at that point. But just to say, if you get dropped on one of the climbs before the finish, it's not all over yet.
Exactly. And I'm going to go for a little bit of a out there pick.
Okay.
And do I think he's really going to win? No. But I kind of feel bad for picking, not even considering him in the first couple of stages. I'm going to go Thibaut Nace of Little Trek for this one. I think he's a really good up-and-coming young puncher. And I'm not sure whether he's had the like best prep. I think some of the earlier stages suit him better. But I think he could sort of stick it out with the GC guys and perhaps sprint away at the end. Again, he's kind of competing against a lot of difficult competition, to say the least. Mathieu van der Poel, Wout van Aert, Pogačar, Roglic, Vingegaard. But it's steep percentages, the Mur de Bretagne, are at the start. So I think as long as he gets over that and it flattens out towards the end, I think he's going to be the sort of best hilly sprinter, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
So I could see him perhaps winning that stage.
I'm a bit of a loss. I'm not sure. I could, pick Tade, but I want to pick someone a little less noticeable. But I don't know who.
I think if Roglic is still in the race, then he's a potential for this stage. But
that is true.
Again,
I was actually thinking of his teammate Lipowicz a little bit. Once again, similar. Did I choose him before?
You mentioned him before.
I mentioned him. Not for this stage one. But I mean, similar reason. GC guys might not. They might, like Jonas and Tade are just looking at each other mostly. Remco is behind them, looking at both of them. Roglic is sort of just there, if he's still in the tour. And then Lipowicz might just sneak away a little bit, maybe even a little bit before the climb starts. And that's where all the riders like, okay, do we follow, do we not? And then you might get a little enough gap, maybe not. It's quite unlikely, but trying to get some unlikely stuff in as well. So I'm saying Liverpool for the stage.
The next stage is from Saint-Malo to Laval, 171.4 kilometers, and they absolutely adore a rising false flat finish for some reason.
Simply
in this first week, because it's another one of these, and again, it's going to be a sprinter battle, but I think there's going to be a little bit of tension in the mix, just because people won't want to go too early. They will want to sit in the wheels and not do a Benji Nason and go far too early and get caught out at the end. So it's another hard one to call. They're not doing this for the podcasters. We'll say that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I have a shout. Hear me out. It's not actually that rogue. I don't know why I'm saying it. We're gonna see a hungry, starved Jasper Philipsen in the shadow of Van der Poel this entire time. Van der Poel leading him out. Philipsen going to the side. Milan coming on his left. Philipsen, closing him down. Not into the barricade. We're not warning crashes. But closing him down and taking his first stage win and only stage win of this year's Tour de France.
I can definitely see that happening. That sounds perfectly plausible. I think I might go for another outlandish one. Okay. Just because I'm kind of in the mood after picking Thibaut Nice. I'm going to go Arnaud Delis of Lotto.
Ooh, okay.
The Bull, I believe he's called. The Bull of wherever he's from in Belgium. The Bull of Belgium, we'll call him that.
That works.
Feel free to correct us, anybody, in the comments if you get to this point. But I think he's got a good team with him of kind of hilly flat riders. That's kind of what Lotto is based upon. So I can see sort of Jasper de Boist kind of giving him a luxury lead out here, and I think you're going to need your lead out guy. And he's also quite a big unit, so can put down the watts heavy. He's kind of similar to Milan in that regard, who I haven't picked yet, I've just realised. So I'm going to go, I think, Arnaud Delis on a stage like this. And he was pretty good, or he was at his best. He wasn't fantastic, I don't think, last year. But he was at his best in the first week, and then he kind of very much tailed off as the tour went on. So I think this is probably Delis' better chance at winning a stage. And I'm going to pick him just to be cool and outlandish.
Stage 9, though. Once again, flat.
Indeed, yeah. If there's one word to sum up the stage, it would be flat.
Yes.
And there's I don't think there's any wind or any extreme problems. I mean, they're talking as if there might be wind, but I think that's hype rather than actual likelihood to happen. And it finishes in a stomping ground for Mark Cavendish. Yeah, this is a big place for him. He beats, I want to say, Andre Greipel 2011, and then Jasper Philipsen in 2021 to get victory number 32. So this is Cavendish territory, and it is a flat stage. So who do you think does the best Cavendish impression on this stage?
I think the guy that looks the most like him, Gourmet. I think they haven't had anything much happen this tour. He's hungry. He's set this tour in the calendar. He's been like, stage number 9. That's the one where I'm going all out. So I think he's gonna show his sprinting capabilities, and he's gonna get the stage win.
Yeah, I think that's a very, very good shout. And I apologise, however,
Oh.
I'm going to take your pick from yesterday and go Jasper Philipsen. You were talking about who is the most similar to Cavendish, and for some reason I've made up this narrative that the most similar person to Cav is going to win. And I think it's Merlier, but
Yeah.
I've picked him twice. I don't really want to.
Yeah.
I want to share it around.
Yeah, come on.
So I'm going to pick his great rival to kind of right the wrongs of 2021, if you will, and lift the curse of Chateauroux.
I mean, it's just a flat stage. Not much going to happen. Moving on to a mountain stage. Let's go. GC, guys. It's only a category 2 at the end, but we take it. We take it. Go, take it away. Taylor, take it away.
Here we go. Enezat to Le Mont-Dore. Finally. Something with mountain in the name. The Puy de Sancy, 3.3 kilometers, 8%, category 2. We've got category 2s and we've got plenty of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 across the stage. One category 3 just sticking out like a sore thumb. However, Cat 2 Heaven, and this is going to be the first big stage where the GC guys come out to play, surely, right?
Oh, hell yeah. It must be. It must be. They've been starving. They've been waiting for this to happen all day. Last stage was a flat stage. It's flat stages are uneasy, but they're way easier than any mountain and hill stage for the GC guys. So they've been saving their energy, and now they can spend it all. And someone is going to think they have more time than they do have, and I think someone's going to blow up. Who? Who knows? Who knows?
Ooh, cliffhanger. Now, I'm thinking the exact same thing. It's going to go crazy on this stage.
Yep.
However, do I think it's going to go to the GC guys?
Oh.
I don't think it will. Because it is the 15th of July.
Yep.
It's Bastille Day. It's the French national holiday. And that means that we have every single French rider goes in the breakaway. That's the rule. That's
the rule.
That is the law. That is what happens in France. If it's Bastille Day, you're in the break. And who is the French rider who I think is most likely going to win on a stage like this? I think it's built for Lenny Martinez. He's come out in the media and he said, I'm not going for GC in this Bahrain team. I'm going for stage wins. I'm going for the King of the Mountains jersey. And this is the perfect opportunity to, A, get his King of the Mountains underway, because there are a lot of points with these category 2s. But with the French hopes on his shoulders, I think he's the best hope at this stage, and sheer panache and passion will get him through.
That is very valid. The passion, the fans rallying up in France. Oh, it's going to be crazy. But I think someone's going to be there to
spoil the party. Yeah.
Spoil the party. He starts with an F, ends with an Elix, and a Gal. Felix Gal.
French team. I think we can pass that as a Bastille. The French will have that as a French win. In the same way that if Filippo Ganna wins the time trial, the Brits will call that a win for the British.
Yes. I think he's gonna. I think he might be looking for a little poke on the jersey. At least he's gonna be hunting for stage ones. And a stage like this can't look over that. He's gonna get into the breakaway, and he's really strong. We all know that. And I think he's gonna maybe just sit at the back. The French guys might be a bit riled up, and then suddenly he comes out of nowhere, steals it at the finish line, like this much between them.
That is so Felix Gal. If Felix Gal played the TDF game, he would manage his effort using the bumpers and just go at one tempo the whole time. He'd be one of those guys. And while the French riders are attacking each other, you've got Vauquelin attacking Madouas, attacking Martinez. I can see Felix Gal kind of keeping the calm head. And I love Felix Gal going for stages. I really want him to do that.
Yeah.
Because I think he's at his best when he does that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can absolutely see that happening. Felix Gal is a great pick. I like that.
Yep. Let's go.
Celebrating
And then
each pick.
the best stage next the rest day. No, stage number 11.
It's Toulouse to Toulouse, but who's going to lose and who's going to win
Oh,
on a stage like today? Talk me through the profile, Lucas, because
yeah.
to me, this is screaming out flat sprint. But they've got hills.
They do have hills. They got a whole one category 4 there, another one, and a category 3 at the end with around how many? A little under 10 kilometers to the finish line. We got a category 3, 12% as well, 800 meters, an average of 12%. That's not bad. But the question is, will the big ride? I mean, I don't necessarily think the GC riders will try anything, but someone like a puncher, for example, will probably try and escape there, catch out the sprinters. Because if the sprinters are there at the end, they're winning it for sure. But the question is, who would dare? Who would even dare do that on a 12% incline?
I'm looking at the breakaway even for a day like this. However, the rest day beforehand doesn't play well into their hands because, of course, the teams will be like all of the sprinters' teams will want to shut it down.
Oh yeah.
Maybe the hill riders who fancy a crack up that final climb will want to close it down before the final climb. On a short stage, it kind of benefits the breakaway, but again, I just don't see it after the rest day. No. If it went to a breakaway, it would be interesting because like any flat finish on a day like this with the break is usually quite an interesting one to watch tactically, if not like it's not crazy exciting per se in terms of like the caliber of riders going for it, but it's like when to make the right attack, and do we have group 2 dynamics where everybody looks at each other while one of the guys who isn't the favourite from the breakaway goes and takes the stage win from under everybody's nose. I want to see a breakaway on this stage, but I don't see it happening.
I don't really. I think also the rest day is going to ruin the breakaway from really going all the way. As for a possible stage winner, I could just see it going like the majority of the big sprinters making it over that hill at least, or at least catching up afterwards with their teams to the riders who probably will try their luck. So I'm calling it for a mass sprint at the end, I think. And for that mass sprint, I'm racking my brain here. I'm thinking I'm just gonna go straight up for it. Milan, because he's in my fantasy team. Stage
so
3,
that's why
baby.
you're picking Milan all the time.
Oh yeah, he's on the fantasy team. He's got the stage winner bonus. He's got all of it.
I think in the heat of battle, in the heat of conflict, Biniam Diomaye for me. Sprinter who can get over the climbs is somebody who's going to be like at the forefront of this stage. I don't really see somebody like Groenewegen or like Bauhaus, like one of the bigger sprinters, getting over the climbs.
Yeah.
Milan is like deceptively good on hills. Like he looks like he'd be bad with all the weight and stuff, but he gets over them quite well. So I wouldn't be surprised if Milan goes to the line. But
Right.
Biniam Diomaye, in my world, has not won a stage yet, and I'm not sure how Intermarché play it. Maybe they throw a guy in the breakaway and don't have to pace all day, or I don't know how they'll work because their team is built around sort of breakaway riders and stage wins and stuff. But if it comes down to a sprint and Intermarché have not done any of the work, then Diomaye could be your man today, I think.
Good shout.
Stage 12, Auch to Hautacam, 180.6 kilometers, and we are finally into the mountains for good now.
Yes.
Summit finish, all category climb, 13.5 kilometers, 7.8%.
I'm seeing the GC, guys. It must be a GC. There, I feel like UAE, maybe also Visma, but at least UAE will be pacing throughout the entire day pretty much to make sure the breakaway doesn't get too far ahead. Because they want Tade to get some time here and also bonus seconds. 100%.
Yeah.
I don't see any other way this stage going down, honestly.
We have got 2 other climbs to contend, so it is going to be a difficult stage, or 2 proper climbs, we'll call it, in the final 60 kilometres. One of them Category 1, Col de Soulor, the other one Category 2, Col de Bordère. So it's going to put some difficulty in the legs, let's say, ahead of the final climb. It's a fairly consistent gradient on that final climb. Second half is a bit steeper from what I've seen, but I can see it just being a battle royale between the 2 GC guys, and we all know which 2 they are.
Yeah, we all know. Of course, it's Remco, and Roglic. No. I have a feeling Visma, they always try something with like saddle riders. They'll probably put someone up there, whether it's Wout van Aert, might be a bit early on for him to use a lot of energy, but they'll put someone up there. I think UAE will just keep all theirs in the peloton and just pace and just bet on, the final climb. Just depends on who wins that little tactical battle. But I just see it coming down to Pogacar probably attacking at the end, Vingegaard on the follow, and one of the 2 coming out on top. But who? Oh, who? It is early in the tour. It is, well, I guess it's week 2. This is stage 12. See, my heart says one thing, my brain says another. I'm counting on the comeback season here, so I'm saying this stage here goes to Tadej Pogacar.
Wow, boring. I'll go Jonas then. I will not lie. I will say that Tadej was my first pick, but no, I'm going to go with my backup. Jonas Vingegaard will win this stage.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we're just doing boring for once, right? Let's live, man. No, I'm gonna choose Tobias Johannesson. Oh yeah, he's winning the stage. No.
And it's the same again. The next stage, stage 13, another mountain stage, or in this case, a mountain time trial.
Oh.
Lauwin-Planque to Peragudes. And the Peragudes climb is dangerous. 8 kilometers, 7.9%. It's only a category 1, but it's quite a big category 1.
Yeah, it's just a straight climb, like pretty much the entire time trial.
Pretty much. You've got 3 kilometers of flat beforehand, close enough, and then you're onto the climb.
7.9. So just okay, that's a time and a half.
What I want to point out here, have a look at that final kilometer. 13% average, peaks at 16%. So it is going to be a push in that final kilometre. You're going to have the times on screen. Most likely, let's be honest, it's the big 3. And they will all be going one after another. So my guess is that Pogacar and Vingegaard will know what time Remco sets. And in that final kilometre, they'll have a long time to look at the finish line because it will slowly creep up on them.
Oh, that's going to be such a cool shot as well, just to watch. Since it's so steep and it's just a pure mountain, I don't see Remco winning this one. I just don't. It's got to be Italia Vingegaard. And here, both my heart and my head tells me one thing. And it's Jonas Vingegaard flying up the mountain. He looks back. Taddy's nowhere in sight. Taddy looks up. He's looking to the sky. He's looking at God. He's looking at his maker. And Vingegaard comes in first. Well, not first, over the line, but he gets the best time. And beats Taddy by 12.6 seconds.
12.6, very, very niche, very tight. We were on about Remco taking a lot of time on the first time trial. It's definitely not going to be that much on this one. I'll go Tadej, I think. I think it is literally just going to be a pure climber battle. And the gaps aren't going to be big at all. I'm guessing, unless, Vingegaard is a Vingegaard and or Pogacar does a Pogacar in 2020,
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to go Pogacar on this stage. It's going to be close.
How many? Give me some seconds.
If you're going 12.6,
A bit much, but
I will go 12.5. So then I'm technically lower.
Right. That's just, I can't believe it. All right. Maybe he gets 13. Who knows?
And after 13 is stage 14.
Oh.
Toulouse Superbagnères. It's another mountain stage. 4 climbs. And it is crazy. It is a pick and mix of the mythical climbs of the Tour de France.
It is.
First climb, Col de Tourmalet, 19 kilometers, 7.4% HC. Second climb, Col d'Aspin, 5 kilometers, 7.6% Category 2. Boring,
Child's play.
dull, child's play.
Child's play. Yeah.
Third climb, Col de Périssord, 7.1 kilometers, 7.8% Category 1. Final climb, Superbagnères, 12.4%. 12.4%? Crazy if it was 12.4%. 12.4 kilometers at 7.3%. Obviously a more category. And it's pretty steady percentages, but there are a couple of sustained periods of over 10%. I've got a hot take for this stage, but I'll let you go forward first.
Okay. I feel like the race is going to get blown apart like completely early on. We're talking by the top of Col de Tourmalet, we have like 30 guys left max in the peloton. If there even is a peloton at this point, I don't even know. But there won't be many left here. UAE and Visma, I think, will make sure of that. At least Visma. Visma definitely put someone in the breakaway, though, to hopefully get over Tourmalet. Run out, possibly. And also a little bit away into the descent. I don't think they'll make a move that early, because that's a bit too risky for the Visma thing. But we're going to see chaos, and I'm really looking forward to this stage. 100%.
I am looking forward to it as well. It's the final mountain stage of the second week. So it is the last chance, basically, in that second week for the GC guys to really go out of their shell and smash it up the climb. And for me personally, though, I've got a little bit of what you might call a hot take, but I think it's feasible. I'm going breakaway today on this stage. I think that this is going to be a stage where a huge breakaway goes, because the amount of King of the Mountain points on this stage is excessive.
That is true.
And I think if somebody wants to win the King of the Mountains jersey on this stage, they're going to have to be in the breakaway on this particular stage. So I think there'll be a lot of interest in that, and because of that, the breakaway kind of goes all the way. I can feasibly see that happening, but of course, like, final mountain stage of the final week, are the GC teams going to allow it? I don't know. It's going to be a hard one to control, but I think if it goes to the breakaway, somebody like Felix Gall is an absolute shoo-in.
Oh yes.
If it goes to the GC group, I think I'm going Jonas on this.
Oh, I mean, we did just have a time trial this stage before as well. So I think, well, I mean, I know Jonas and Tade will definitely go 100% on that time trial. It is quite short, but it'll still be, difficult feeling the legs the day after, just to a degree. But their teammates, they won't be going hard there. Well, some of them will. I think Jorgensen probably will, and, Yates and stuff, to keep them within the GC battle. But people like Van Aert and others who aren't really important with the GC, they'll just take it slow, which means they'll have a lot of energy to spend on this next stage, which is why I think that those two teams will definitely try to make sure the breakaway doesn't go all the way. But it also could be said that the guys like Felix Gall, who are not in the GC as well, just from another team, also won't be going hard this stage before. So they will have even more energy as well. So it kind of goes both ways. And honestly, I can see a breakaway doing something. But when I think of Tade and Vingegaard battle, I always just think of them, coming up behind the breakaway. They look back, they're like, oh shoot, here they come. And they know it's time.
Yeah.
They know it, they hear the ding, the Undertaker's here. And they just swoop right past them. So I am thinking a Visma masterclass with Stella Riders here. And Jonas comes out on top.
If you go for that, then I will go for the breakaway winning. I think it'll be like... Do you remember 2 years ago, there was a stage that Kwiatkowski won? up like,
Possibly.
I think it was Grand Colombier, stage 13. And he won it by like less than a minute, and you were like, they're gonna catch him. They maybe might catch him. I think it's gonna be one of these where it's like the breakaway doesn't get a crazy like gap at the finish line, but it will be very close. I'm gonna go Gal. I think I feel like him from the breakaway.
Good choice. Good choice.
Speaking of the breakaway, I also think it's going to be a breakaway stage on stage 15, the final stage of the second week. And it's kind of... it's really difficult to call because it's guaranteed breakaway stage, I think. Because the sprinters are going to find it too difficult. The GC guys are not going to go on this stage, let's be honest.
No.
There's 3 climbs on the route, 2 Category 3s and a Category 2, 30 kilometres of downhill, and then 6 kilometres of flat to the finish. So again, it's quite hard to call.
Yeah, especially after the previous stage where everyone's just going to be completely dead. Especially GC guys, I don't think they want to risk anything here, honestly, because going here would possibly just mean losing time and losing the jersey, possibly losing the GC battle. So they wouldn't risk that. So I definitely agree with breakaway going all the way here.
I'm looking at that sort of 30-kilometre false flat downhill bit. If it's twisty, Mohoric has to get in the breakaway, I think, because that's his kind of territory, and he's won at the Tour de France before on a similar stage, and I feel like this is the kind of stage that he can eat up for breakfast, you know. I love breakaway stages. I'm gonna, unpopular opinion, but I love the tactics of a breakaway stage. I love the fact that Group 2 always fails to cooperate with each other, and some randomer can come off the front and win, despite probably not being the best on the day. They just play their cards right, and Mohoric is one of the more tactically better, in quotation marks, riders in the peloton, and I feel like that downhill section suits him down to a T.
Yeah. I'm not too sure who I would go for here for a breakaway. Who would be willing to go into a breakaway exactly? Also good enough to make it all the way, go solo. Maybe
I can give you my backup pick if you'd like.
Yeah.
Nielsen Paulus, EF.
It's not a bad shout. I was thinking like someone who hasn't gone too hard to stage before, because there was no need for them, and maybe has a little extra here, but still good enough to like do something. I'll take your second pick, Paulus. Yeah. Yep.
There we are then.
And
then everybody gets a well-deserved rest.
Yes.
And they're gonna need it because stage 16, it's a very familiar finish. Mont Ventoux, and it is just Mont Ventoux. It's what we call a hockey stick stage because it looks like a hockey stick. Ventoux is the only climb, 15.7 kilometres, 8.8%, highest category. It's basically going to be an all-out brawl on that final climb.
Yeah, but we all know the result already. Remco having to pull, of course, because he's 83 flat stats, will win the stage. No. I'm just wondering if... they have just had a rest day, but will the teams want to pace too hard on the flat, like UAE, for example? If a breakaway is to go ahead, would they be spending their guys on that, you think?
I feel like if you're not UAE or Visma, you've got to get your best mountain guy in this breakaway.
Yeah.
And a couple of like flat guys to pull the team away. So for example, he's not here, but Carapaz, if he was, because he was on the provisional start list, but had a bit of sickness. If he was here, you would go somebody like Asgreen or Alex Bourdin in the breakaway with him, pull the group away, and then just let Carapaz go crazy on the final climb. Yeah. Again, you're looking at those kind of teams that don't have a... If you want to go to the breakaway, you're looking for teams that don't really have the mountain support, but have the flat guys that can take the group to the bottom of the final climb.
Yeah. I'm thinking it's going to be a situation where it will probably be a situation where some riders who are riding decently high in the GC, not like, second, third, and stuff. Maybe like 10, who are still sort of in the battle, might go up there, and someone who's maybe like 7, 6 might feel a bit threatened at some point doing the stage. Like, okay, we actually also have to pace. So it's not only going to be Visma and UAE pacing throughout the flat part, but some other teams will have to join as well, just to make sure that, they don't lose their position in the GC. Which I think is the only savior really for UAE and Visma, because otherwise there would be one hell of a 140 kilometers of just pure pacing. But I don't know if I almost see the breakaway going all the way here. I feel like, I think the breakaway's gonna go all the way, honestly.
Interesting. I see it as a GC day.
Yeah.
So we are divided on that opinion.
Indeed.
Who in particular? There's somebody who sticks out for me if it goes to a breakaway, but I feel like you'll say him.
I'm not sure exactly who I would say. I got a couple, I think. I'm not sure who would.
I mean, if you want a pick from myself, thinking about a breakaway, the murmurings are he isn't going to do this, which is pretty silly, I think.
Right.
Although a lot of like the middle GC guys have been speaking about like, I'm not going for GC, I'm going for stage wins.
Right.
And this guy says, I'm going for GC. However, in the UAE tour, they have like similar mountain stages to this.
Right.
And last year, in what was quite a turn up for the books, on the final stage of the UAE tour, Lennart van Eetveld of Lotto went crazy, won by 22 seconds ahead of Bilbao, O'Connor, Stora, etc. Like it wasn't a stacked list as per se, but it was still good climbers. So I mean that's basically all we've got to go off. It's like UAE tour stages where there's loads of flat and then suddenly there's a massive climb.
Yeah. I think. Well, the thing is, if Roglic is still in the tour, hasn't crashed out yet, I think he'll be too far up the GC to be fair to risk doing it.
Can I throw his teammate in there?
I was just about to say Liverpool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking that, like, once again, a bit at the back, probably hasn't gained like a whole lot of time so far. Maybe it's gotten close or something. But he's in the shadow of big old Primož Roglic. Hopefully at this point, who's still in the tour. And they can afford to put him up there. And if they do make it to the climb with a decent gap, it has to be a pretty decent gap for Momento, then I don't see many who would be allowed in the breakaway and also be able to beat him on a straight climb.
I agree with that. I very much agree with that. I think, though, it's going to be GC. And I'm going Jonas Vingegaard at this stage, I think. Mythical climb, mythical winner. Hopefully a mythical battle.
Hopefully, yes. I'm going all in for the breakaway. I'm saying Lipovic. I think I've had him once before, so twice. 2 stage wins, let's go.
Stage 17, it's back to the flat stages. 160.4 kilometres from Bolène to Valence. 2 Cat 4 climbs well before the line. However, murmurings again of crosswinds. Will the peloton be bothered, however, with the Ventoux stage before, which will probably be pretty difficult, and the stages after, which will be even more difficult?
I mean, surely the GC, well, maybe they want to a degree. I don't know, though. I think it's too much of a risk. I know Visma, they like playing it safe a lot of the time. They won't do anything. And UAE possibly will be in possession of the yellow jersey at this point, so they wouldn't want to risk anything either. So yeah, I'm thinking it's probably going to end up in a mass sprint at the end, even though there might be wind. Maybe not. Maybe that's not going to win. Who knows? Well, not much. But I'm thinking it's just going to be a mass sprint.
I think that as well. I think maybe some of the sprinters teams with like pure sprinters want to force crosswinds, but
yeah,
I don't think anybody will take it too seriously if the wind even blows, you know?
Yeah.
there is a corner in the final kilometre. So I think the battle will be, for the lead-outs at least, to be first into that corner. So I'm going to go Jasper Philipsen, I think. If you've got Van der Poel and Groves as your lead-out guys, they're going to get you into that first corner, in a comfortable seat.
Yeah.
Probably with a bag of popcorn on the side. So you can just look at that finish and cross the line. So I'm going to go Philipsen, I think, for this stage.
Yeah, I was thinking something along the same lines, especially after the last stage. It's going to be a... Well, well, so to speak, wow. If he's made it this far, if he survived the last stage in the times limit, which I guess he will, hopefully. I don't think I've picked Merlier yet.
You haven't?
Maybe once? No, I haven't. I think it's about time. It's about time I go for him here. He's going to be in Philipsen's wheel. His own team can't lead him out well enough, so he's probably going to be there. He's just going to swoop by past him at the end. Easy one.
He's finally stepped down from his Jonathan Milan picks. I rate it.
I gotta do at some point, right?
And the stages keep coming. Stage 18, Col de la Loze. This is a nuts stage. 171.5 kilometres, mountain stage, 3 HC climbs, and the mythical Col de la Loze to finish. Col de Glandon's the first one, 21.7 kilometres, 5.1%, but it's super up and down. There's no regular steady gradient, so 5.1% is a bit of a lie, because there are flat sections, there are sections at like 9-10% as well. Then Col de la Madeleine, 19.2 kilometres, 7.9%. Disgusting. Percentages fairly constant throughout. However, nearly 20 kilometres at 8%. That's craziness. And finally, you will know about this a lot more than me. You race it loads on the Tour de France game. Col de la Loze, 26.4 kilometres, 6.5%. However, there's flat, there's downhill, there's steep sections. It's all over the place.
It is hot and dangerous. It's going to get steamy. The climb itself, Jonas Vingegaard, if I might say, destroyed Pogacar, which I think is going to happen once again. Pogacar's got bad memories here. He's got nightmares. Every time he sees the climb, he sees the name, he's like, oh God, this is bad. And Jonas knows. Jonas knows how to crack him here. He's done it before. He can do it again. And it's going to get cracked on early on. Even the Col de Glandon, I think. Already their race is pretty much blown up. No sprinters. They're all the way at the back. We got very small pellets and probably even groups split up. Maybe Remco's falling behind. I could see that happening. And I think we're going to see some battles, though. Not just with Jonas and Tadej, but also with the second captains on the teams. I think Jorgensen might make a move here. When? I don't know. But maybe make a move from far out. I mean, if he's still in the GC race, of course. If he's not in the GC race, then he won't do anything. You might see a little Almeida, a little Yates, something, depending on who's up there. But I think it's still going to come down to the two main guys. And I think Vingegaard's going to do what he does best. Win.
I think we both agree on carnage happening in this stage.
Yes.
We've seen Visma launch a one Hail Mary on each stage. All in for the win. They did it on the Col de Granon. That's probably the most famous example of the Visma Hail Mary. I'm thinking of the time trial, Col de la Loze as well. We're talking one stage that they target. I think this is the one that they are circling, underlining, highlighting, circling again. Especially if they see the chance to end Pogacar's Tour de France win hopes. UAE, though, are yet to try a proper Hail Mary of their own, I think. You know, they've done it through Pogacar himself. They've not done it as a team effort. And I think they've got the riders to do it this year. Almeida, Yates, etc. And Pollet and those guys to set it up. It's crazy. I think that Visma are going to be more likely to do it, however. Because I'm assuming both teams have got this stage circled. And I wonder whether Visma are going to have something more creative up their sleeves than this. my main pick was going to be Jonas, but I feel like you are going Jonas.
No, I would never.
So I'm going to go Pogacar for this stage to right the wrongs of last year. Or the year before, should I say.
Yes. I'll say Jonas Vingegaard. But how much time are we saying? Who will lose? Jesus Christ. Who will lose and how much time? Let's just, aside from Tadej Vingegaard, let's start with Remco. How much time you think he will lose, if thinking he's still in the Tour, of course, to the first guy across the line?
I mean, how much time have we been talking up to this point? That might be the amount of time he loses.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I think he's... Without Lander as well, this could be a very difficult stage for him.
Yep.
If I'm Soudal Quickstep, I'm throwing as many guys in a breakaway. Perry Puncheret, get in the move. Van Wilder, get in the move. Make sure you're up there for as long as you can possibly be there. I think if it gets really nasty, we're talking multiple minutes, I think. Here.
Oh, yep.
Best case scenario, we're talking 30, 40 seconds, maybe?
Agree. I think if Remco's dream run was not really dead at this point, it's gonna die here. It's gonna be buried very deep down. If I'm gonna go for a specific time, to the first guy across the line, I know Remco's good at keeping like the same pace and not blowing up, so I don't think he's gonna blow completely up. But at the same time, there's only so much you can do. 26 kilometers on the final climb. I'm thinking a minute and 49 seconds.
I don't think that's absolutely out of the ordinary absurd. What do you think the gap would be between the big two, though?
Yeah. It's probably gonna... I don't know. Because I feel like they're both gonna, try so much in this stage that one of them is just gonna hit the wall, honestly. It won't be the same time as Remco, I don't think. But it could be less than a minute.
I think one whiff of weakness, and it could be over. One of these guys, Tour de France hopes.
Yeah.
I think it totally depends on how each team plays it. Really,
it really does. If I have to say a time, I'm saying since Vingegaard wins, he wins by 28 seconds. I'm saying 20. I want to say more, but I don't want to say more.
Humble.
I'm scared of this man, okay? This Slovenian's got me shook.
Yeah, I feel like if Pogacar wins this stage, I don't think it will be by as much as if Jonas wins it. I feel like Jonas needs a gap. Pogacar probably can just take bonus seconds and little 3-4 second gaps here and there at the end of a stage. Yeah. So I feel like, given that I've got Pogacar, I will go probably 12 seconds, I think.
That seems about right, honestly.
But will they play it heavily and throw all their cards in? Because stage 19 is another mountain stage. 130 kilometres. Albeville to La Plagne.
Yep.
4 climbs before the final climb of the race. First one, Category 2. Second one, Category 1, which is 13.7 kilometres, 6.4%. Then we get serious. Col de Pré, 12.6 kilometres, 7.7%. Or category climb. Final 7 kilometres of the climb, 9% average. And then the Cormet de Roselon, which is a Cat 2. It's got a harder first half at around 7 to 8%. Then it drops down a little bit. And then La Plagne, 19.1 kilometres, 7.2%. Orth category climb. And the final 200 metres are at 4%. So Jonas, I think, will want to drop Pogacar before that point.
Yeah. The question is, which one fits either better? I think, tactically wise, this almost fits Visma better. But I think, in terms of what Jonas can produce and what he's better at, I think the previous stage fits him a little bit better. Because tactically wise, I think it's easier to get a guy up in front and for him to stay there. Possibly later on, maybe around the Col de Pré or the Come de Roselin, great pronunciation, I'm sure, for someone like Valvernard, someone else to stay away for Vingegaard and maybe, lead him down the descent a little bit faster. We've seen Pogacar be isolated before in these kind of circumstances, and I feel like it could happen again. But also, I feel like UAE hopefully are more aware of Visma's tactic at this point and will use their head a little bit more, because we've seen them not use it very much. The Giro, for example. So, yeah, I'm assuming they're going to keep their head a little bit more cold and think about it more. But I think tactical-wise, this could be a Visma classic.
I feel like both of these stages, stage 18 and stage 19, are going to be where the teammates are at their most important, especially the GC teammates. We're talking Jorgensen, we're talking both of the Yates brothers on each team. I think this is where they're going to come into their own and be part of this GC battle at the maximum, at least.
So you're saying someone might attack one of the secondary leaders?
I think one of the secondary leaders will play their cards on this stage.
Or do you think the other secondary leader will then follow?
I think it could be pretty cool if we have a secondary leader battle.
Imagine that. Yates or Almeida attacks and then Jorgensen follows. That would be...
Jonas and Tadej just track standing as they get 16 minutes on the road.
Yeah, that would be sick.
I can't really see past Pogacar on this stage. Got to be honest. If he's in the wheel in those final 200 kilometers, 200 meters, it's over. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, and he knows he's just got to stick to the wheel, so that gives him a little bit more. He can go a little bit harder and like a little bit closer to blowing up than Jonas might be able to. But it sounds like you're going Tade, so I'm choosing the man himself. I'm choosing Vingegaard.
It's good that we're choosing different people, and whenever I choose Pogacar, you choose Jonas, and vice versa. Yep. This is giving you a bit of rivalry for them, and giving you a bit of rivalry for us, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
And the breakaway will be looking at each other and probably forcing some rivalries on stage 20. Because it's the penultimate stage, final one before the Champs-Élysées. Yep. And it's going to be a chance, I think, for anybody that has not won a stage, any team, any rider.
Yep.
This is probably their last chance. Because stage 21 is pretty processional, or is it? It's a rolling breakaway stage on stage 20. And it's going to be super competitive, I think.
Yeah, I'm going to need to pull up the start list for this one. I need to find someone I haven't thought of yet.
I will fill
a breakaway.
And I will say there are 2 category 4s, a category 3 and a category 2 climb. By this point, the King of the Mountains jersey should be pretty much decided.
Yes,
nobody's going into this breakaway for King of the Mountains points, I think.
No.
And it's a flat run to the finish. Which is why I'm thinking more kind of sprinty guys from the break, but like not pure sprinters, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Because it's not as hilly of a breakaway stage as the last one.
Yeah. Oh, I don't... I have to look at the start list.
I've got 2 people that I've circled, I think. I mean, if I'm throwing names out there, like if it goes to somebody who attacks early and the group looks at each other, I'm looking at somebody like probably Tom Schoins, Neylands maybe, from Israel for that. If it comes... Maybe Volgren, actually. Michael Volgren's here. That could be
a good shout. That's a really good shout.
But if it does go to a small group...
Yeah.
I'm thinking one of either Mike Turnison, because I feel like Astana need the points, so they're going to want to win these kind of stages that they could win. You know, there's no chance they're winning on top of Mont Ventoux against Vingegaard and Pogacar.
Yeah.
So I think these are the ones they're going to want to go for. I'm thinking Mike Turnison, but I'm going to go for Fred Wright of Bahrain Victorious as my pick.
Interesting.
Bit of British bias from me. After
don't
your
worry.
Danish bias for the whole podcast.
Don't worry, more Danish bias to come. I got 2 riders lined up, both Danish, both Vikings. We got left, hopefully, Magnus Court might still be remaining in the tour. It might be a bit too hilly for a category 2 as well. That's why I also have in mind Matthias Skjelmose once again. He's shown he can sprint when it comes to it. And he's shown that he can compete on hill stages and go all the way. So the Danish bias come through, and I'm picking one of the 2. In my mind, I'm seeing Matthias Skjelmose, so that's who I'm picking.
Do you think he'll be out of GC by this point?
Yes. Oh, yes, for sure. I think he'll probably try something at some point, and he'll end up losing quite a lot of time. I'm thinking he might be like 11th, 12th, which is still near the GC, but it's not to the point where he's not allowed to risk anything at this stage, I don't think.
That's a pretty good pick, I'd say. I'm thinking Anthony Turgis as well for Total. You know, that's their big chance at a stage. That's probably their one chance at a stage.
Right.
So they're going to have to make sure they try and take it. But stage 21 is so hard to call because you're thinking Champs-Élysées, it's a sprint, right?
Yeah. But
have they ruined it?
Yes, I think so.
I agree with you. I think they have ruined it. Let's give it a try at least. Let's wait and see how it works.
Exactly.
But
do you think they're gonna do the usual, thing at the start where they're just sort of drinking champagne and stuff, or is someone gonna ruin it? Because I feel like someone might try and make an example of why they shouldn't have this and just attack and just try and ruin the stage because one of the riders because they don't agree with this and to sort of protest that way by ruining the secret Champs-Élysées stage.
I think they're going to do the opposite. I think they're going to protest by not racing these.
Fair, that's also true. That might that's probably better actually, yeah.
Because I don't know, 5 climbs on the final stage. They're all category 4s at least, but you got 3 ascents of the Montmartre climb. Now, if you watch the Olympics at any point, they did this in Paris, this climb. And it is incredibly narrow. Now, so narrow that in the women's race at the Olympics, Chloe Dygert dive-bombed for the US, the corner entering the climb, crashed, stopped the whole peloton.
Oh my God.
And because of that, the winning move went up the road because they were just in front of the crash, and they went on to win. Right. It is that tight. It is literally, if you lay a bike down, you can probably just about get past.
Right.
So the battle for position might be crazy. However, do I think the GC riders, after 20 days of racing and the teams, and it's going to be hard racing. Week 1 is not crazy difficult in terms of percentages or whatever, but crosswinds, sprints, carnage. And then you go into the mountains and it's more difficult terrain. Yeah. After 20 difficult stages, are they really going to go for it on this one? I'm not sure whether I see it.
It's got to be really close. We're talking, if there's a 10-second gap between first and second, they will try. But if we're at the point where it's a minute, then at that point you're sort of it's the Champs-Élysées anyways. Tradition and stuff. I don't think they'll do anything. It has to be really close at the end. Then I do see someone trying something at least. At least if Todd is second, he's definitely trying something. That's for sure. Because he knows he can gain time or something like this. But also the climb is, the top of the climb is 8 kilometers away from 6 kilometers away from the finish line.
Yeah, it's not long at all.
Right.
Away from the finish line. And that might scupper the chances for the sprinters, especially with the battle to get into the climb. It's going to be super narrow. And if you're not at the front, it might be race over for the stage win at least.
Do you see a decent amount of sprinters actually dropping out before the final mountain stages because they know they can't win this one either?
I would not be surprised. At all.
Even as a protest as well.
Especially as if they're out of the green jersey, definitely.
Yeah.
Also if they've got other riders. So somebody like Cofidis maybe. So Brian Coquart is their sprinter, but they've got lots of other miscellaneous breakaway guys.
Right.
So with him out the race, their lead-out men could maybe go for that breakaway stage the previous day. So somebody like, I don't know, Damien Touze, I think actually could be a good pick for that day. But yeah, people who are out of the green jersey, I think are not going to bother. Even doing this stage, especially with all the mountains before it. It's just going to be pain for them to get through. For a stage that they are 50-50, let's say, going to go to a mass sprint. I'm not sure whether they bother doing it.
Yeah. I think the same, honestly. Which is also going to send a message, hopefully, to the race organizers. But for the stage win, I'm thinking a certain guy from Visma Lise Bike who might be starring for a stage win this tour. A certain second place merchant, Wout van Aert. I mean, this is a stage that, even if you just look at the profile itself, it does not look bad for him whatsoever. A little climb near the finish, he can do that. And then comes down to sprint afterwards. He can also sprint. Like, he's one of the best sprinters, I guess, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So I could see him taking the stage. I think that's going to be my pick for the Champs-Élysées stage.
I thank you heavily for stealing my pick. Because in your script that you've written for this tour, I'm guessing, Vingegaard is going to lead out Wout van Aert in the yellow jersey. And Wout van Aert's going to win the stage for Visma. Am I right, or am I right?
That's exactly right.
Okay. In my script, this is definitely not going to happen, but in my script, it's another Visma Lise Bike rider.
Okay.
It's Victor Kampenaerts. He's going to go in the breakaway. Right at the start, everybody's doing their champagne. Victor makes sure that Visma do it first. So they do the champagne photo, and then he puts the champagne away, attacks.
Just goes.
And I think there's only one other rider who the peloton would let get away because they're like nice enough and they're also well known enough to go, they're just having a joke.
Yeah.
Victor Kampenaerts and Ollie Nason in a two-man Belgian breakaway. They ride the whole stage at one particular pace. They don't go any faster. They don't go any slower. And the gap goes up and the commentators are like, can they bring this back? Everybody wants it to happen. Everybody's probably thought it on the Champs-Élysées stage of like, if somebody attacks right at the start and just paces themselves while everybody's doing their champagne and their niceties, would they win? I want to see Victor Kampenaerts, Oliver Naesen. Why not Jasper de Bois? Let's bring him along. Let's make it a three-man Belgian breakaway. All shitting and giggling. Race over. Three men fight it out on their own at the Champs-Élysées. Massive anticlimax for the fans there, watching three riders slowly poodle up the Mont Ventre climb that they're all talking about. I'm going to pick Victor Kampenaerts, and I want it to happen, and I'm speaking it, I'm manifesting it.
Cinema. That's cinema. Oh, yeah. What a way to end the Tour de France that way.
I would adore seeing it. And I would also adore seeing your bingo card picks, to be honest, because this is the important part.
Exactly.
However, I want to hear your GC podium before this.
GC podium. I see. I mean, obvious Vingegaard first. I think I've mentioned that. Also, with the stage once it makes sense. Tade second, of course. Assuming none of them crash out, which hopefully not. Now, the only actual, kicker here is going to be third. The others would once again be Remco Evenepoel. But let's not do that. Let's do something different here, okay? This is the really good podcast. It's good for a reason. So I'm going to pick the guy who actually will finish third, and it will be.
Picks a miscellaneous rider.
It will. I now have my pick. We all know Roglic will crash out eventually, which will lead the way for the. I don't know where he's from. What country is he from?
This is well educated.
We can cut this out. Don't
Have
worry.
a Google.
Where is he from? The German rider Florian Lipovic, who has gone under the radar. No one's noticed him. He slid his way up and won the final stages. Remco is there. He's in his wheel. He can't get rid of Lipovic. Eventually, he attacks. And Remco goes behind. Remco finishes 4th. Lipovic finishes 3rd.
I highly doubt that you've been hanging around German cycling circles during the 2022 Tour de France. And if you are, then please phone, somebody who can help you with that. However, Jonas Vingegaard was slaughtered in Germany in 2022 because on the final mountain stage, he accidentally, admittedly, by winning, all of the stages and going ham on the climbs, he accidentally took the polka dot jersey away from German rider Simon Geschke, who is well loved in that country.
Oh yes.
So I like your Lipovic pick because he's now got Germany on his shoulders, and he's looking to win the King of the Mountains jersey to avenge Simon Geschke. I like that pick.
Oh, we're cooking up one hell of a script for this tour. Oh God.
And for me, then I feel so shameless doing it. However, it's going to be Remco 3rd. It's going to be Jonas 2nd. It's going to be Tadej 1st.
Boo him. Boo this
No
man.
excitement from me. No excitement whatsoever.
But we still have other jerseys. We also have the polka dot jersey. You just mentioned Lipovic potentially winning it. Is that who you're going for?
I feel like Lipovic could. But I'm going to go Lenny Martinez for this. The last time France won the polka dot jersey was 2019. It was Romain Bardet. They've been on a 6-year dry spell. And I think Lenny Martinez, I don't think he's going in. They're not advertising him, Bahrain, as their GC guy. They're advertising Buitrago as their GC leader. So I wonder whether Lenny Martinez is going to go for the sneaky breakaways and the King of the Mountains, maybe.
Right.
I feel like Martinez is my King of the Mountains winner.
Okay. Not a bad guess. Now, with my whole plan cooking up with the Tour de France, who wins the stages, who go into the breakaways, I think it all leads very much back to the man himself, Felix Gall, to win the polka dot jersey. Once again, assuming, Jonas and Tadej don't just take all the points. I think Felix Gall would be my pick to get it.
Yeah, I want it to be Lenny. However, once we get into the bingo card, I don't think it will be Lenny. I don't think it will be. Green jersey.
Yes. It's gotta be the man who is there instead of one of the greatest cyclists of this generation, Mats Pedersen. It's gotta be Milan, who's gonna just rack in the points early stages. Probably not late on, but at least the early stages, and that it's going to be his main sole purpose and surviving the mountains, hopefully. And he's going to make it to the Champs-Élysées and have the green jersey on his shoulders.
I kind of want to go Milan as well because I feel bad for not picking him for any of the stages. However, because I've picked Merlier for all of the stages pretty much in the sprints, I think I've got to back my boy Tim Merlier to go and win the green jersey. Again, I think we're talking about in the final stage, who can be bothered, right? Of the sprinters to even get through it.
Yeah.
I feel like Merlier is going to have a hefty advantage to convince him. I feel like he's the least bothered of the green jersey of any of the sprinters. But I feel like he is going to win enough that he's going to be in control of that jersey, at least for the sprinters. But again, if we go to my bingo card, or once we get there, I'm not sure whether it goes to a sprint this year.
Yeah, I mean, I have the same feeling. I feel like every jersey would just go to those two, but, we'll see. Now, the final jersey, the white jersey. Who are you thinking here?
I mean, I've basically spoiled my white jersey prediction, and I think we both have actually in
technically,
our general classification top 3.
That's true. Yeah.
So eager listeners will know that I said Remco Evenepoel third, which kind of adds up. Remco Evenepoel for me third.
Yeah, and then Lipovic for me for White as well. Yeah, fair enough. All right, what you've all been waiting for. The bingo card itself. The 9 things that we each believe will happen in the Tour de France that we can cross off whenever it happens. And I think we're just going to go bar for bar. So if you start with the first one, I'm going to go afterwards, and then so on and so forth.
And as a reminder, this can be anything. This is not stage winners. This is not like a particular thing. This could be, a fan is pictured throwing a water bottle at a wall because they've got a non-Visma or UAE water bottle. They've actually got Cofidis and they're not happy. That's the type of thing that could be on the bingo card. But I'm going to start in that first week, and it is going to be carnage. I can see 2 general classification favourites ending their race in that first week, and I don't want it to happen, but I feel like there's so much. Stage 2 for me is going to be like an obstacle course of just carnage. There's going to be all sorts all over the road, and who is going to keep it upright? And there is one pretty obvious person who is at the forefront of any general classification rider incident.
Of course.
Primož Roglič, I think, is going out in the first week. And I reckon Carlos Rodriguez of Ineos might also fall by the wayside. Oh,
damn. That is funny that that's your first pick as well. Because on my first on the bingo card, we have something very similar. Although a bit different, because my first thing is Primož Roglič crashes twice or more. So not just once, not just one and go, twice or more. Well, that's the entire tour, of course. And it can't just be, a small little slide. It's got like a crash. Like he's on the floor, he's crying. That kind of crash twice.
Damn.
Now, will he survive more? I don't know. That sounds a bit, rude, but it's just I just think it's gonna happen. Unfortunately, once again. So yes.
My second one is gonna be about a battle of a different kind. We're talking about the GC battle in this first one. Okay. But there is a strong little undercurrent sweeping its way through 2 particular teams in the peloton. Because Ineos have just struck a deal with the petrochemicals company, Total Energy. Okay. And they are sponsoring the team. So Total Energy are going to most likely lose their sponsor for the team in 2027 because it's going to Ineos, right? So Total are now racing basically to ensure that they stay in the sport. They need a new sponsor in 2027, and they are going to have to pull all of the stops out from now until that point to advertise themselves. So I've got Total Energy win a stage, which is one more than Ineos get.
Oh,
I think they will want it more. And Anthony Turgi is probably the man to deliver it. You're thinking about kind of the missed guys on the team as well, the likes of Gachinard. They've got Jeannier for the sprints, but I think the sprinting field's too good this year. So I feel like Total Energy secure a stage win and Ineos don't. And everybody will be memeing on Twitter that the secondary Total Energy team won.
Oh, okay. Very interesting. For my second, we have a little star of Remco Evenepoel stars in this one. It's actually very simple one. Remco Evenepoel to wear the yellow jersey at any point. That is
hot take. Wowza.
Yeah, a very hot take. But I mean, of course, I'm looking at the first time trial possibly to be the case. But at any point during the tour, hopefully, if it doesn't happen the first week, hope it doesn't happen. But at any point, I'm hoping that he's going to wear the jersey just one day. That's all I want to see. One day.
Okay, that's quite a nice one because I've got one that slightly differs.
Okay.
I think that Mathieu van der Poel, there is a scenario. I don't now whether I think this happens feasibly.
Yeah.
I don't think it will. This might happen though. Mathieu van der Poel gains so many bonus seconds from winning the opening sort of hill stages and stuff that he has enough time to hold the yellow jersey on the TT. He will gain more seconds on the stages before the time trial, and then just hold, just not lose enough to Remco for him to take the yellow jersey. I think Van der Poel will be in yellow after the time trial.
Oh, that's also a very hot take. I can see it happen. Like if he's just gonna go all out for it on the time trial to make sure he keeps it, but my God, he's gotta rack up points.
Yeah,
a lot of them. Well, seconds, I mean. Now my third one is a bit boring. It's someone winning a stage, but Vingegaard Gourmet wins a stage in this year's tour. Is my third pick for the VingeGaard. A bit, you know, and what's it called? Basic, but yes.
I think with the sprinting field, it'll be much harder this year for him. I mean, I've not picked him for any of these stages, which you know, is a little bit concerning if you're an Intermarché fan. Although I think I picked him for one early on, but that was purely to please the Intermarché fans of my channel at least.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can see it happening, but it is going to be a lot more difficult than last year, definitely. And I'm gonna follow on. We've heard this literally a couple of minutes prior, but I felt like it was too good not to go on the bingo card.
Okay.
Breakaway stage win, Champs-Élysées. I think it's so absurd that it belongs on the bingo card.
That's true.
And
I rate it.
You know, I'm double down. I'm going double down.
Double down. Oh, it's all or nothing. I rate it 100%. My fourth one, we have a stage 5 time trial incident. A GC favorite, I think, will have a big mechanical error. Not just them, but a mechanical error. We're talking a bike error. And they're going to lose a lot of time. Who it might be, I don't know. But just a big GC favorite is going to maybe even lose their hope on that stage.
And if it does happen, make sure to get directly on the phone to French police and say that Lucas has been tampering with the bikes before the start of the stage.
What?
So
I
that
would
you can
never
get it on the bingo card.
It's not like I have a flight to France the day before.
No, never.
No.
I'm going a bit bland for this one as well. Movistar are going to win a stage. Now, you might think that's boring. However, on day one of the race, it will have been 2,173 days since Movistar won a stage on the Tour de France.
Damn.
Nairo Quintana, stage 18 of the 2019 Tour de France. They have not won since then at the Tour. So I think they're going to break that duck. Probably Enric Mas maybe from a breakaway, or Will Barter maybe on one of the flatter breakaway stages. But I think this is Movistar's year. They're going to finally get one.
About time. They've been in a drought for so long. I rate it. For my fifth one, we have a fan incident happening on the Mont Ventoux stage. Just to make it more specific, let's say on Mont Ventoux itself, the climb itself. A fan incident, we're talking a fan maybe gets way too close to a rider right into him, or someone throws a bottle at someone. Just something that's going to like make some headlines in the news, basically.
And obviously, we don't want it to happen.
No.
It's on the bin. And once again, if you do see a specific Danish man throwing a bottle at Tadej Pogacar's spokes on his wheels, do report that to the police.
Do report that for sure, and say that I had an alibi. I was recording videos, for sure. Yeah.
Tall Danish dude with a vlogging camera. You know who that is.
You knew what I was saying to me.
My next one. we've spoken about who will win each jersey, and I've hinted at this. The big three will take all 4 jerseys. Now, it's pretty obvious that they'll take the yellow jersey. I'd say it's fairly regimented that Remco should win white.
Yeah.
Lipovic might give him a challenge if Roglic, does a Roglic early on. King of the Mountains, I feel like, is going to go to Pogacar or Vingegaard, and I can see Pogacar winning the sprint jersey, just because he feels like it.
That's a very Pogacar thing to do, yeah. You think he's going to go for any mere sprints at the end if he is at that point? Just for shits and giggles?
Well, I feel like I'm wondering with the amount of, or the lack of, sprint stages towards the end, you're going to be seeing sprinters drop out, and the further he gets up that classification, the more he's going to believe, I think.
Yes, I mean, we saw him at the presentation yesterday, and man, he's in good spirits, that's for sure. Yeah,
I can see him winning stages, and if he's actually close enough, because again, that Montmartre stage, I've got no idea. The Champs-Élysées stage, I've got no idea what's going to happen. I can see Pogacar doing like a funny, jokey sprint with Jonas over the intermediate line. Sure. Actually, it's a little tactical ploy to get more points. I can see Pogacar taking the green jersey, man.
I think that's a very valid one, for sure. For my 6th one, we're going bland again. I apologize. But it's something that I do really want to see happen. It is Jurgensen winning a stage. I really want to see it happen. I assume Visma, with their brains, they will play a double captain thing. And I think Jurgensen at some point, I don't know if I have him for a stage. I don't think I've chosen for a stage. But I'm hoping at some point he's going to go through and Tadej's not going to follow. And he's going to go all the way. And maybe in winter time, maybe he goes early in the stage, something like that. But I have him down as winning a stage in a Tour. Come on, Jurgensen.
And he's an honorary Dane, right, with that last name.
Exactly. He's basically Denmark at this point.
I would love to see it happen. I really like Matteo Jorgensen as a rider. I think he deserves better, my boy.
He does.
He is also the second coming of Van Garderen, which is
exactly
why.
Even higher.
I think, and this is probably my hottest take. No, it's not actually. I'm looking at my last one. This is my second hottest take. I think people will come away from this tour remembering the sprint stages more than the mountain stages. I think it's going to be so much carnage, and crashing, and that was the day Roglic lost the Tour. This was the day that Visma ripped it in the crosswinds and Pogacar lost like 2 minutes. And the amount of carnage that is going to happen on these stages. We've not even referenced that there are teams battling to avoid relegation. Astana, I fully think, are going to sprint with 3 guys in the final sprint. They're not going for a single individual. If you've watched any of them this year, they have been going 2 guys for each stage minimum. 3 guys if it's a sprint. And they've bought Turnison, they've bought Velasco, they've bought Fedorov. It smells dirty like they've got 3 sprinters. And the amount of bodies that are going to be in that final kilometre, it's going to be so tough for the GC guys to stay out of trouble. I can fully see them just like getting to the 3 kilometre or 4 or 5, the point where no seconds are given out anymore and it neutralises if there's a crash, and pretty much stopping, like literally going to the back and not doing anything. I think sprint stages will be more exciting than mountain stages this year.
Damn, that is a hot take. I can't wait to hear your last one. God damn. The 7th one here. This is probably this might be the hottest take I have. We all know Uno X. You all love him. Scandinavian team. I have them as winning 2 or more stages in this year's tour. They have the riders to potentially do it, mostly from breakaways, possibly. They don't have the biggest world-class riders, but I think they have a very solid team. And the team chemistry is there, of course, Scandinavian Vikings. and they get 2 more stage wins in the Tour.
What do you think of Werenstrol's chances in a sprint? Do you reckon he can come close, or is it just too much for him?
Not for a stage win, I don't think. I don't think that's well, it should, unless it's like a completely chaotic stage where like a huge crash happens near the front, he might, get in front of them, and then it's sort of like a mixed sprint. At that point, I could see it happening, but like against Milan earlier, no, I don't see it happening.
So my next one, my penultimate one, I believe is where we're at. Cofidis are going to be the nearly men of this Tour de France. I feel like they're going to come so close and not get a stage win. I feel like Coquard is going to be in the top 3 on one sprint stage. I feel like they're going to come close as well on the other breakaway stages. We're talking Dylan Teuns, Tuze, somebody like that. But I feel like they're going to come away without a stage win, but be the nearly men of this race.
Right. The so close yet so far, man.
Yeah.
That's valid. And my penultimate one, we have Wout van Aert with a domestique masterclass. And no specific stage, just at some point during the Tour. And when I say masterclass, I don't mean just, he's up there, he gets back and helps me go a little bit. We're talking Giro level masterclass. We're talking he helps either Jorgensen or Vingegaard gain at least amount of time. Like we're talking like 20 seconds, at least 30 seconds. At any stage during the Tour, a masterclass incoming. I have faith.
Nice. Domestique of the year is what we're saying here.
Basically
seals it at the Tour. And my final take, I've gone for Fred Wright winning a stage. Very vague British bias. It's been, there's not been enough. You've been repping for Jonas, you've been repping for Magnus Cort, you've been repping for Uno X. I feel like I've got to do my Brits proud at least.
Okay.
So I've got Oscar Onley of DSM accidentally finding his way into the top 5. I feel like he's gonna slip into a breakaway. Do you know what? Let's raise the stakes.
Go on.
He's gonna go into a breakaway and be at one point in the top 3 of this race. He's gonna jump Evenepoel, and it's gonna be Pogacar and Vingegaard only, and he's gonna hold on for a top 5.
That is very interesting, especially considering that I have this man on my fantasy team. So if that is to happen, then I am going to be very, very happy. So I'm praying for that to happen for sure. My final one, the 9th, the final big one. It's to do with Philipsen. I believe Philipsen is going to get a big fine at any point during the race. Well, let's just say a fine. It's not a big fine. Let's just say Philipsen's going to get a fine at any point during the race.
Does somebody get 2 yellow cards and get sent off?
Oh, you know what? Sure. Let's say Philipsen gets 2 yellow cards. Let's change that up. Philipsen gets 2 yellow cards.
Out of the race he goes. Jasper disaster.
Oh yes. He gets yellow. Actually, does my stage win count? That one where I say he was going to win and block Milan into the barricade. Does it count if he wins even though he gets relegated? For me.
We'll give it, especially if he blocks Milan into the barriers. I feel like that's an absolute guaranteed you win on that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll allow that one.
Okay, let's cut to this once it happens and make a TikTok and stuff. Let's go.
And that was 2 spicy takes, I think, to end off the bingo card. That was, and that's pretty much ends our podcast. I think you now know all you need to know about this Tour de France, and you've got some unhinged and, quite frankly, uneducated takes about it as well.
We're going to follow the Real Life Tour de France with the podcast, with the episodes, basically 1 episode every day to follow each stage. And we're going to try and follow up on all these very interesting predictions. Also, probably going to looking at our individual fantasy teams and see how they go. Because I'm sure I'm getting top points on every single stage. And you're going to see a lot more uneducated guesses and great reactions to Jonas Vingegaard winning a stage. That I can promise.
And yeah, if Oscar only ends in the top 5, we actually might have to close this podcast. The episode will be so incredibly explicit that it will be too much for YouTube. It will be too much.
Yeah.
I think it would be one that you'd have to listen to on podcast platforms, and it might even get demonetized and taken down on there. Yeah,
we're for sure getting no ads on that one. That's for certain. But yeah, thank you all for tuning in for this short podcast. If you're still watching, hopefully you enjoyed, and we'll see you all after stage 1 of the Tour de France.
And it's a guaranteed stage win for my guy Tim Merlier.
Milan. We all know that. Come on now. All right. Take care.